Hello, my dear children. Once again, welcome to our physics class. Hope you all are fine and safe over there. It's been a long time that we have started any session. Okay, so we were discussing about the second lesson, electrostatic potential and capacitance. We have completed our potential part. Today we are starting our new concept, that is capacitance, second major concept of this chapter. So it's very important concept. Listen carefully. Let's get started with today's session. Children, as we discussed in our introductory video, today we are going to talk about capacitor and its capacitance. So what do you mean by a capacitor? Capacitor is a device used to store charge. Then what will be capacitance? Capacitance is the property of the capacitor which determines how much charge capacitor can store. Okay. So why do we need a capacitor? We need a capacitor so that we can utilize its energy whenever it is required. Capacitor stores charge and this charge possesses some sort of energy. Do you know what type of energy is stored in a charge? Yeah, it is the energy of electric field. So whenever we require energy, we can access that energy from the capacitor. So you may think battery also stores charge. So why there is any need to use the capacitor? Battery also stores charge, but the charges stored in battery is released gradually or slowly. At the same time, the charges stored in capacitor is released all of a sudden. So in situations where we require the whole energy at once, we use capacitor. Capacitor is found in fans and it is also found in DSLR cameras. In DSLR camera, whenever you press the button, you will get a flash of light, and which is produced by accessing the energy stored by the capacitor inside that camera. Okay, so this is about capacitor and the capacitance. Next is capacitor can store charge. But how much charge can be stored in a capacitor or a conductor? Can we store any amount of charge inside the capacitor? No, it's not possible, my dear children. See, just imagine you have a bucket with you. The capacity of that bucket is 25 liters. That means you can store 25 liters of water in that bucket. So if you add 30 liters of water to that bucket, is it possible for you to store 30 liter of water in that bucket? No, because the bucket has a capacity of only 25 liter. So whenever the water has reached the 25 liter limit, further if we add water to it, it will overflow. So just like that, capacitor is also a bucket which can store charge. And there is a limit to the storage of charge inside that capacitor or conductor. What determines this limit? That we are going to discuss next. So for that, consider a capacitor or conductor like this, and we are giving some charges to this conductor. So let Q be the charge given to this conductor or capacitor. And whenever the charges are given to a conductor, two things will change. What are the two things? One is electric field. What is the equation to find out electric field? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. And next thing is potential. It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. Sorry, electric field is R square and the potential is Q by R. And from both the equations, it's very clear, as the charges increase, what happens? Electric field also increase and the potential also increase. Okay, so whenever the charges are given to a capacitor or conductor, its electric field as well as its potential increase because Q increases. Now, what will be its impact? So when electric field increases, the effect of this electric field on the surrounding medium also increases, and the surrounding medium is air. You know, air consists of many atoms. So the impact of electric field on the surrounding medium of this capacitor goes on increasing as we go on adding charges to this capacitor. Now, after a certain period of time, this electric field becomes so strong such that the energy possessed by this electric field can knock out electrons from the atoms present in the surrounding medium, that is air. And whenever electrons are removed from the atom, they are ionized, that is, atoms become positively charged ions. And this process is known as dielectric breakdown or leakage of charges. Okay, so what happens as we go on adding charges to this conductor, the electric field increases, and finally the electric field becomes so strong so that it possesses energy capable to knock out electron from the valence electrons of the surrounding atoms. As a result, the atoms get ionized, and this process is known as dielectric breakdown. And after dielectric breakdown has taken place, and if we add further charges to this capacitor, it won't receive those charges. That means we can't add charges to this capacitor further once the dielectric breakdown has taken place. So this is the limit. After dielectric breakdown, we can't charge the capacitor. Okay. Next, let's discuss about the capacitance. So I told you before, capacitance is a property which determines how much charge can be stored inside a capacitor. And whenever the charges given to the conductor or capacitor increases, its potential also increases. That means when charge Q increases, potential increases. So charge Q is directly proportional to potential. This directly proportionality symbol is removed by adding a constant, and let me add the constant C here into V, and this C is known as or called as capacitance of that capacitor. Okay, and also from here it is clear capacitance C is equal to Q by V. That means charge by potential. So this is the equation to find out a capacitance, general equation to find out capacitance. Capacitance C is equal to charge by potential. Then what will be its unit? Unit will be Coulomb per volt. And another name for Coulomb per volt is Farad. Farad. So Farad is the SI unit of capacitance. Okay, and the equation, general equation to find out capacitance is C is equal to Q by V. From this expression C equal to Q by V, you may think that capacitance depends upon charge and potential, but it's a misconception. Capacitance never depends upon charge or potential. Instead, it depends upon the dimension or size or configuration of a capacitor. Okay, so capacitance never depends upon charge or potential. It depends only on the capacity, that means configuration or size of the capacitor. It's very important concept. Then I told you the unit of capacitance is farad. Then how will you define 1 farad? See here in this equation, when the charge Q is equal to 1 coulomb and when potential is equal to 1 volt, what will be the capacitance? Capacitance will be 1 farad. So how will you define 1 farad? 1 farad is the capacitance when 1 volt potential is required to store 1 coulomb charge. Okay, when 1 volt potential is required, or when 1 coulomb charge is stored for 1 volt. Okay, so here when the charge is 1 coulomb, potential is also 1 volt. So when 1 coulomb charge is stored for 1 volt, capacitance is 1 farad. Suppose the capacitance of a capacitor is 20 farad. What does it mean? It means 20 coulomb charge is stored for 1 volt potential. Suppose the capacitance of a capacitor is 100 farad. So what does it mean? It means that 100 coulomb charge is stored for a potential of 1 volt. So among these two capacitors, which will be the best one? Obviously it will be the second one. Why? Because for 1 volt potential, it can store a charge of 100 coulomb. At the same time, the first capacitor can store only 20 coulomb charge for the same 1 volt potential. So this is the best capacitor. So what are the criteria to determine a capacitor is best? The criteria is that it must use less potential. At the same time, it must store more charge. So less potential consumption, at the same time more storage of charge. These two factors determine whether a capacitor is best or not. Okay. Next, let's discuss about the capacitance of a sphere. So capacitors are available in different shapes. We have cylindrical capacitors, we have spherical capacitors, we have parallel plate capacitors. Okay, so let's discuss about the capacitance of a spherical capacitor. For that, consider a spherical capacitor. Let capital R be the radius of that spherical capacitor. And suppose this capacitor is given a charge Q. So when charges are given to the capacitor, what happens? Its potential also increases. Then what will be the capacitance? Capacitance C is equal to Q by V. So here Q is the charge given and V is the potential increased as a result of that charge, equal to Q by V is the potential. And in this lesson itself, in this chapter itself, in the beginning, we had studied the expression for potential. What is the expression for potential? Potential V is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by R. And in this case, we are supposed to find out the potential on the surface of the sphere. So if we consider any point on the surface of the sphere from the center, what is the distance from the center to that point? It will be capital R. So here the distance small r can be replaced by capital R. Then substitute this expression for potential here in this equation. So you will get capacitance equal to Q by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by capital R. Q cancels. Then what is left? We have capacitance C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught into capital R. This is the expression to find out capacitance of a spherical capacitor. 4 pi epsilon naught into capital R. Here 4 pi epsilon naught are constants, and from this it's very clear that is capacitance C is directly proportional to radius R of the spherical capacitor. That means capacitance depends upon size of the capacitor. Okay, so you must remember this formula. Capacitance of a spherical capacitor is 4 pi epsilon naught into capital R.